Some business expansions are immediately successful, and franchises pop up all over the country in a few years. Some aren't, and franchised locations have to be bought back in order to survive. For one sandwich chain, it's both. But its failure was only temporary, and business is about to be booming all over the world. Port of Subs, started in Sparks, Nevada in 1972, has expanded into a multi-state phenomenon. The chain specializes in freshly sliced subs, made with top-tier fresh ingredients, ranging from generic classics like ham and cheese to signature dishes such as the gourmet grilled cheese and the New York steak melt. Since the equity firm Area 15 Ventures bought up the chain in 2023, its expansion plans have switched to turbocharged mode. In April 2024, it signed an agreement with regional developers to open 20 new units in Arizona. This followed similar development agreements in Oregon, Texas, and Idaho, all of which were announced in 2024 alone. Its most extensive expansion plan will unfold in Minnesota, where local entrepreneur Pat Mancuso decided he needed to jump on the Port of Subs bandwagon after trying one of their sandwiches at the airport. He told QSR magazine, "I first experienced Port of Subs at the Las Vegas airport and was immediately hooked. The freshness of the daily baked proprietary bread, the upon ordering sliced meats, and the fantastic Ghirardelli brownies blew me away. Port of Subs truly is a business that wants to be a part of the communities it serves." McAlister's Deli began in Oxford, Mississippi, where a local dentist decided to transform an abandoned movie set diner into what they described as a small yet charming neighborhood restaurant and gathering place. That was in 1989, but the small-town essence remains a key part of the McAlister's Deli personality to this date. The chain now operates over 550 locations across 30 states and hit $1 billion in system-wide sales in March 2024. However, it remains extremely selective about where it retails its sandwiches, baked potatoes, and iconic sweet tea, preferring to open in suburban and rural locations versus major cities. With up to 40 new stores expected to open in 2024, they're not stopping anytime soon. If those slow and steady expansion plans do happen to hit your neighborhood, be sure to try their signature McAlister's Club, a decadent 13-layer sandwich stacked with meats, cheeses, and veggies.
I think food brings family and friends together like no other, and a place like McAlister's it provides that for you.
Jersey Mike's has humble origins, starting as a seaside restaurant known as Mike's Subs in Point Pleasant, New Jersey. Its founder set himself apart by serving something that was relatively novel at the time: submarine sandwiches. It worked. And Jersey Mike's is currently ranked as the 4th largest sandwich chain in the US after Subway, Panera Bread, and Arby's. And they're still growing. In 2022, QSR magazine declared Jersey Mike's to be the fastest growing restaurant chain in the country. They've opened over 1,000 new restaurants since 2018 alone. And CEO Peter Cancro declared plans to open 350 new locations in 2024, plus up to another 450 in 2026. As if taking over the US isn't enough, Jersey Mike's also plans to take its spectacular subs international soon. Its expansion into Canada has already begun, with plans to open 300 stores by 2034. While Cancro claims there's also been interest from partners in the UK. PrimoHoagies has prided itself on plating up Italian-style sandwiches with fresh veggies, store-baked bread, and gourmet meats and cheese since 1992. The chain started in South Philadelphia, but today can be found dotted down the majority of the East Coast, with more recent expansions taking it as far west as Colorado. And the company is not done. In October 2023, it signed 20 new franchise agreements as part of what its CEO, Nicholas Papanir Jr., described as a mission to redefine the sandwich experience across the U.S. The numbers match the ambition. That same month, PrimoHoagies revealed that it plans to open 300 new stores in the near future. Having won Best Sandwich or Sub Shop in the 2023 USA Today 10 Best Readers' Choice Awards, the standard of the Hoagies themselves is top-notch. Franchisees Dana and Ronnie Besser, who opened a location in the Poconos, told the Pocono Record about their first taste of a PrimoHoagies sandwich. Dana said, "It took me back to a place in Brooklyn where you go to the corner deli and the lettuce is sliced really thin and the bread is really soft and the meats are just sensational."
Remember, it's not just a hoagie, it's a Primo.
If you're looking for a stellar turkey sandwich, Capriotti's Sandwich Shop has got you covered. For over 40 years, the chain has slow-roasted all-natural butterball turkeys in each of its stores overnight, before hand-shredding them in the morning to ensure that customers get the freshest, tastiest meat possible. For the first few years of Capriotti's sandwich shop's existence, you could only experience this wonder for yourself if you made the trek to Delaware, where two siblings opened the first store way back in 1976. Then Capriotti's sandwich shop started expanding, and it hasn't really slowed down since. As of 2024, you can find Capriotti's sandwich shop at over 175 locations across the U.S. Expect that number to skyrocket soon. The chain, which is now based in Las Vegas, plans to add another 750 locations by 2032. That includes new restaurants in South Florida, California, and Hawaii, where Capriotti's made its triumphant debut in Honolulu in 2022. Unsurprisingly, the chain has also had the honor of being featured on Fast Casual's Top Movers and Shakers list for 4 consecutive years since 2020.
What do you love so much about Capriotti's?
The quality of the food.
True to its name, Firehouse Subs was founded by 2 firefighters, brothers Chris and Robin Sorensen, in Jacksonville, Florida, back in 1994. These roots are still evident in its offerings today, with cheekily named sandwiches such as the Hook and Ladder and the New York Steamer, serving as menu standouts. Its first attempts at expansion weren't successful, with the Sorensens buying back their franchised locations shortly after launching them in 1995. Later efforts were much more triumphant. As similar businesses struggled at the peak of the pandemic, sales surged by as much as 20% for Firehouse Subs locations, and Restaurant Brands International snapped up the business for $1 billion in 2021. With Restaurant Brands International at the helm, it has gone full throttle on its expansion plans. It now boasts over 1,250 stores in North America and hopes to add another 800 by 2028. Plus, there are also plans to transform Firehouse Subs into a global powerhouse by adding 100 restaurants in the United Arab Emirates and Oman by 2033. Opened in 2005, Mendocino Farms is one of the newer additions to the sandwich shop scene. Their ever-changing menu stands out from its competitors thanks to indulgent, interesting varieties. From Peruvian steak to Mendo's original pork belly banh mi, all made with locally sourced ingredients. While the carbs are most definitely the MVP of Mendocino Farms, the salads are equally creative and delicious. Despite what the name would have you believe, the first Mendocino Farms location wasn't in Mendocino, California, but in a former Starbucks under the Museum of Contemporary Art in Los Angeles. Named for the home county of its co-founder, Mario Del Perro, the chain has mostly stuck to the Golden State since opening. However, it started spreading through the West in recent years, with locations in Washington and, as of 2019, Texas. While it hasn't divulged the full slate of states pegged for expansion, rest assured they're coming, starting with a Colorado location, for which Mendocino Farms signed the lease in July 2024. Expect more on the horizon soon. As CEO Kevin Miles told PDQ magazine in late 2022, Mendo is an up-and-growing brand, and we're excited to bring it across the country over the next several years. Jimmy John's is a product of Illinois, where 19-year-old Jimmy John Liato opened his first store in 1983. In the decades since, it's added over 2,600 additional restaurants to its roster, all powered by freshly made subs, including its Italian nightclub sandwich, which was voted the store's best by mashed readers.
It's delicious.
Once I discovered Jimmy John's, it was all over. I never even looked back.
As of 2024, these restaurants span 44 states, with only Alaska, Hawaii, Maine, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, Vermont lacking Jimmy John's. But that could change soon, as Jimmy John's is continually adding new locations, including a handful of drive-through only spots since 2022. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. According to Restaurant Business Online, the chain's revenue increased between 2023 and 2024, with the bulk of recently announced expansion locations heading for prized airport spots. Since being purchased by Inspire Brands in 2019, Jimmy John's has also set its sights on expanding further afield, having signed deals with franchisors in both Canada and Latin America in January 2024. Potbelly Sandwich Shop has been growing steadily since the 1970s when it opened its first restaurant in Chicago's Lincoln Park. The site was an antique store where the owner happened to refurbish antique Potbelly stoves and decided to try to increase business by selling sandwiches to customers. A unique concept, sure, but it worked. The site abandoned antiques completely and rebranded as Potbelly Sandwich Works. Following a rough patch where the chain had to close several locations, things really started to heat up for the chain in 2020 when it brought Wendy's alumnus Robert Wright on board as its new president and CEO. 2 years later, it kicked off its franchise growth acceleration initiative, which set the goal of opening 2,000 new stores. COGS are already in motion for 192 new Potbelly restaurants in 2024, including 15 new restaurants in Maryland alone, courtesy of Potbelly's former CEO, Brian Kyle, and his son. At present, you can pick up Potbelly classics such as the Steakhouse Beef and Pizza Melt at 427 stores scattered across the U.S. Expect that number to surge soon, with the chain signing development agreements in New York, Maryland, Florida, Ohio, Washington, Arkansas, North Carolina, Tennessee, and Texas. And they even opened a couple locations in the Middle East. Talk about going global! Another Chicago transplant, Portillo's, is known for its Windy City origins. Its menu is packed with fare typical of the city, such as hot dogs, Maxwell Street Polish sandwiches, and Italian beef. This beef is slow roasted for 4 hours before being thinly sliced, combined with French bread, then dipped into a hot gravy that Portillo's has perfected over 50 years. That alone makes it worth the voyage to Chicago. Except now, you don't have to travel. Portillo's has spread out across the U.S. in recent years. When it was purchased by its now owners, Berkshire Partners, it committed to dramatic expansion. In September 2023, Portillo's told Restaurant Dive that it had increased its goal from 600 new restaurants to 920. These new locations will apparently be split between two different models. 800 will be regular, full-scale restaurants, while 120 will adopt a pickup or walk-up model. Those who receive a full-scale restaurant in their neighborhood are in for a treat. Portillo's famously favors eccentric novelty decor, particularly Chicago-related memorabilia from the 20th century, so no two of its restaurants are identical. Fans of tasty sandwiches could spend hours raving about the many highlights of the Mr. Pickle's menu. From the Mrs. Pickle to CJ's Pastrami, its best sandwiches are served on its Dutch Crunch Rolls, a French roll that's cooked with a dusting of rice flour, giving it a sweet textured exterior for a satisfying crunch with every bite. Are you drooling yet? The first Mr. Pickle store opened in San Mateo in 1996, with the chain expanding through California and into Arizona in 2023. Its current CEO, Michael Nelson, bought the company in 2020 and has since guided the chain to an impressive 73% increase in sales. Named one of the fastest-growing emerging restaurants in the United States in 2023 by Nation's Restaurant News, Nelson puts its rapid growth down to over-the-top service, but the quality of the bread definitely plays a role in helping it stand out from the crowd. Mr. Pickles partners with a supplier in San Francisco, making its sourdough, French, and wheat rolls, plus the sliced multigrain and marble rye bread, some of the best in the biz.